Rage on that beat, going crazy.
This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether it's websites, online stores, marketing tools, or analytics, Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence for your brand or business. Hey, what's going on, guys? JQ back with tech creation, where I use technology for recreation, and I got with me here the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now, I always go with the Max variant of smartphones because I just think bigger is better, especially when it comes to watching videos. Now, it feels a little bit uncomfortable to hold in the hand, I'm not gonna lie, but I actually don't mind this new boxy look. It reminds me of the old iPhone 4S, but I kind of like this chamfered edge. I think it looks really, really nice, and I think Pacific Blue is the color to get if you're going to be getting the iPhone 12. Now, this year's iPhone features an all-new A14 Bionic Processor that basically lets you record 4K HDR Dolby Vision video. We get MagSafe charging, a Lidar sensor, and 5G. And by now, I mean, we should know the rhythm of how Apple does these things with these small, incremental, yet substantial upgrades. Now, personally speaking, I think 5G is just way too overhyped. I'm not just speaking on the behalf of the iPhone, but the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra as well. I spent a couple months with this phone, and I am on T-Mobile, by the way, so it could be a T-Mobile thing, but 5G is just trash. So that wasn't really a selling point for me when picking up the iPhone 12 Pro. Now, MagSafe charging is a little more exciting for me. We've seen third-party manufacturers do this with their third-party cases. Manufacturers like PITAKA being one of them. These were the same folks who sent me over this case, which I think looks really, really nice. And I'll link this down below in case any of you guys are interested. But it's nice that Apple has built it directly into the phone itself. That's something that no other smartphone can brag about at the time of this video. And with the all-new Lidar sensor that will offer better depth with photography, along with the processor's new video recording capabilities, it's little improvements like that that make it seem like the iPhones aren't exactly upgrading every year, but when you look at the bigger picture of things, you can see exactly what Apple is doing, and that is releasing features when they get it right. And that's what inspired me to make this video. So the main focus of this video is not specifically going to be on those new features, but rather the user experience of an iPhone as a whole, and why no matter how cool the latest Android phones may be and look, most people, including myself, still find ourselves crawling back to the iPhone for several reasons. So let's begin right from the beginning, from when you initially unbox it and its dead simple setup process. So whether you're an IT specialist or grandma, everybody loves simplicity when it comes to tech. So to give you guys some context, I haven't used an iPhone in several months. I've actually been using the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, but as you guys seen in my last couple of videos, I picked up an iPad, and the fact that all I had to do was bring my iPhone in close proximity to the iPad and have my email, all my account info, my settings transferred just like that, and then it was just a matter of me selecting my iCloud backup and I was good to go. It's little things like that that makes this experience unmatched. I mean, before I even do anything with the phone, just the setup process alone. And it's almost kind of comical how simple Apple just makes technology look, masking all of the complicated stuff and communication that's going on between these two devices. Now, don't get me wrong, Samsung has improved their setup process as well to be a little bit more seamless, but it's not as a ABC 1, 2, 3 as it is with the iPhone. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, and I hate to say it, even though we are in 2020, but still some weird things happen using Android. So for example, lately with the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, I've been running into this problem whenever I try to download an app from the Play Store. I would get this like indefinite pending. Now, usually that would mean that there's apps downloading or updating in the background, but this wasn't the case. I made sure of that. That was the first thing I made sure of. I force quit the app. I would restart the phone. It didn't matter whether I was on a data connection or Wi-Fi connection. I checked all the Play Store download settings. I even plugged it in to make sure maybe it needed to be plugged in on Wi-Fi. I even turned off 5G because I thought maybe that has something to do with it, and nothing seemed to work. And then out of nowhere, it would just start downloading the app. I can't quite pinpoint even till this very moment what was causing that to happen. But my whole point in mentioning that is that just doesn't happen with iOS and using the iPhone. When I download an app, it just downloads and that's that. Now here's another example of these weird things that happen with Android. So when you're using third-party password autofill apps like LastPass, for example, it's almost like a hit or miss. So the LastPass autofill extension allows you to plug in credentials automatically, whether you're in an app or inside a browser. And it really just feels like a gamble sometimes. Like for example, let's say I was to visit a website and I'll plug in the LastPass credentials, it'll work. But then let's say tomorrow I will visit that same website, and when I go to plug in the credentials, it would just say unable to autofill. Why? Who knows? I'm not sure why that occurs. Whereas with iOS, it just autofills all the time, every time, no matter which app or browser you're using. And once again, it just works. And the funny thing about that is that third-party password autofill was supported on Android long before iOS officially supported it. And the fact that we fast forward to this very moment and iOS executes it better is a perfect example of it's not about who's first, but who does it the best. So while it may seem like Apple takes a long time to adopt certain features from Android, when they deliver correctly, and I can't even be mad about that. Another example of that is widgets. I mean, just look how long Apple took to adopt the widgets, and now fast forward with iOS 14, not only can we move the widgets around the home screen, but the ability to use smart stacks, I think it's dope as hell, and it's something that I wish Android supported natively at the time of this video. And when you combine that with their new app library that neatly sets aside any of your unwanted apps, we can no longer weaponize the whole widget argument or the lack of having an app drawer. And I'm extremely impressed and excited about how far Apple has come with their software. I had so much fun customizing the iPhone 12 and getting it to exactly how I wanted. And for a couple moments, it did feel like I was using Android. Us native Android users are slowly just running out of excuses to not switch over to iPhone. And that's not even to mention the unrivaled messaging and communication system with iMessage and FaceTime. Apple's software cohesion with their products is perfected to a level that doesn't even give room for the competition to catch up, in my opinion at least. I mean, let's just look at Face ID for example. I mean, in my opinion, that's an example of software that has been perfected. Apple didn't rush to do biometrics. And I mean, aside from the whole pandemic and the face mask issue that's going on with Face ID, under normal circumstances, Face ID has probably got to be the most seamless, consistent biometric that's available for smartphones, given how effortlessly it is to authenticate. Don't get me wrong, Samsung's in-display fingerprint sensor is great, but as I mentioned in previous videos, it always takes me a couple of attempts, several times a day, to get it to work properly, so it's just not as error-free as Face ID is. Now, continuing to elaborate on my examples when it comes to how great the software is, when we're talking about the in-car experience, Apple CarPlay versus Android Auto. Don't get me wrong, I love the feature set and the design of both of them, and the new version of Android Auto with its enhanced UI has made some really big improvements. But every now and then, Android Auto just grinds my gears, and I'll tell you why. So for example, one of the issues that I've been running into a lot is just Spotify doesn't seem to work at times. Not sure why, which causes me to unplug and then replug my phone again in order for Spotify to begin working again. Or for example, another issue I ran into is when I would call up Google Assistant on the head unit, it would chime and then it would listen to what I'm saying. When I'm done talking, it would just disappear and not respond to what I'm saying at all. And another common issue I've come across is information not properly being displayed. Like for example, I would go to a playlist and the whole playlist would just be empty, whereas in reality, there's hundreds of songs on that playlist. Once again, causing me to unplug my phone and replug it again. Just random things like that, bugs, and bugs. Now to give some context to that, I am using an aftermarket head unit for my car that supports Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is the Sony AX1000 to be exact. So the case can be made that maybe it's the head unit and not Android per se, which makes sense and is understandable. But if that were true, logically speaking, then I should also have issues with Apple CarPlay. And that's just not the case at all. In fact, Apple CarPlay just works flawlessly and snappier too on the same head unit, as it always has been as I've been cycling through Android and iPhone devices for the past 2 years. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that even though I was using an aftermarket radio, that had no effect on the fluidity and the hiccup-free experience that I got with using Apple CarPlay. I mean, it just is what it is. It's just more peaceful owning an iPhone, and as our lives get busier and we get older and stress builds between work, family, and hobbies, we naturally as humans are going to gravitate towards anything that's going to reduce any stress or thinking. And I don't know about you guys, but every time I'm using iOS, iPadOS, or macOS, I often find myself saying, "Oh wow, that was easy to do," or "Oh wow, that makes sense." So I just love the fact that how Apple just thinks about all of these small details in the user experience and almost predicts what us, the user, wants to do whenever a specific prompt or setting appears on the phone. Another example that brings me to is just the continuity features between all of the family of devices, like copy and paste, for example. So If I'm copying something from my iPhone, even if my iPad or Mac is on a completely different network, the ability to just paste it from wherever I'm at. It's features like that why grandpa and grandma choose iPhones over any other smartphone, because it's simply a no-brainer. And the same can be said about Squarespace, because it's like the Apple of website builders, where even the most non-tech savvy amongst us will be able to build a website in no time. With a wide variety of templates to get started, whether your business involves photography, weddings, restaurants, blogging, online stores, professional services, or events, Squarespace has you covered, along with a ton of built-in tools such as SEO, analytics, e-commerce, email campaigns, domains, hosting, free webinars, and 24/7 support. Squarespace is the one-stop shop to make anybody go from amateur to professional. So go ahead and check out squarespace.com to get started with your free trial. And when you're ready, make sure you use my special code squarespace.com/techcreation to get 10% off the purchase of your first website or domain. Now I want to close off this discussion with a dating analogy. Android devices are kind of like the short flings when it comes to smartphones. They're fun, they're sexy to look at, they feel nice, you can experiment with them, it bugs out every now and then, but you may never really want to commit or may find it hard to commit just because of so much other variety that's out there, so you may be hesitant to stick your SIM card in one. While iPhones, on the other hand, these are the smartphones you want to settle down with as life gets busy. Sure, it's not the most attractive looking phone, and it may not be as fun to use, but it's what's on the inside that counts, and that's the software. It's reliable, it's consistent throughout, and it's built for those people who have some kind of structure in their life. And it gets along well with the rest of the family of products. An iPhone is the phone that you can trust to be there for you when times get tough. Now, I'm still open to trying the hottest new Android devices as they come out, but at the end of the day, I know where home is, and that's with Apple. Anyway, I think you guys understand my point. Let me know what you guys think about this topic in 2020, and which side do you guys stand more towards? Are you more of an Apple ecosystem kind of person, or are you more of a Android kind of person? So go ahead and drop those comments down below in the comment section. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you show some love to that like button. And if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on the alerts. This way YouTube notifies you whenever I drop another awesome tech video. As always, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.